when we shot out there, we were way too far. So I think it was a good class, but everybody looking at it would be like, you know, they were kind of watching a football game from the furthest seat. So let's kind of keep it more here. So let's, oh. And okay, just start. A lot of things we can do, but let's just start from here. One of the things this does do, for example, is there's a center here. All right, now I'm holding the stick. The stick is just representative of something that's really going on inside, okay? Okay, now it's important. I could be looking out there at the stick or something, but feeling right here. Oh, and most people kind of get the upper part of it. But without that sort of thing, that also extends down way past where the stick is. Okay, the stick ends here. There's an up and there's an under down. Okay. Now there's also my position in it. Okay, so we're just kind of going, this could be very much like ritual. Okay, but up, down. Okay, now I'm looking at down or sort of squatting and dropping my weight. The feeling of it is that staff. In fact, you touch the ground, it goes deeper than that. Okay? And I can go up and down in the elevator. So the universe is a department store, okay? I can keep on going the elevator, but I probably came in to get something. Okay, so there's kind of the up and down. And there's also, at some point, we just can't ride the elevator. You're gonna miss the whole department store. Up and down. And that under part is kind of what we call the more feel experience. I'm very, very good at that. And I can sort of move here, but kind of that lower, you don't have to necessarily make a form out of it. Continues under. Like that elevator shaft is very deep. Yeah, the department store we're talking about is the universe. And I don't have to go, oh, that's pretty deep and get pulled into it, but it's pretty deep. Continues down. And there are floors there that we can, right? So this is a little bit, for example, no sensei might be saying, there's heaven, there's earth, there's water, there's fire. And you feel the positioning is kind of like a cross, not necessarily a religious symbol, but But here, let's just work the up and the down for a little bit. Boom, boom, and boom. As I start to do that, I start to get a little bit more presence here. See that cross? I know about it out there, but here I'm a little bit more into the fact that it's a field experience of it. Now you're standing in an elevator, but the elevator is connected to a shaft. Okay, that shaft may go up, 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 and may go down, down, down. And there's your position in the elevator. And the elevator may go up and down within that shaft, but there's up and there's down. And then you can choose a floor. You're going to shop for clothing, or you're going to shop for footwear, or you're going to shop for appliances. Okay, so there's a positioning here. And we're using the elevator and we're using the department store. It represents a universe. And a center, okay? Center runs up and down. And you position your own center within the up down. So I think about this, everything stays kind of up there and out there. So up and down, good. Okay, now the side to side means I'm choosing a floor. There I am in my center, okay? So the actual up down movement. Okay, now we could go this way, down, up. We could do this way, up. You go up to the top floor, you go all the way down to the lower down floor, and then you go from there and you go back up, and then you come down. That's a little bit more complete. If you're just going to, okay, I got that. Okay, we go all the way down, boom. Now, all the way down, all the way up, we check out what each floor is, and then all of a sudden, boom, we choose a floor, and we explore that floor, okay? So, if you watch Sensei, he seems to do stuff like this with the staff. He's not, just practicing waving the stick, okay? Okay, so just a little bit more, just boom, up and down, all right. You don't have to go all the way down, but then from down, back, all the way up, and then you position, okay. What floor do you want? Be any floor, all right? But you go out, you could just stand in the elevator and look out, but you're gonna go out there and check something. Okay, you need to get a new microwave, there's probably a floor for that. Need a new refrigerator, there's probably a floor for that. You need to add to your wardrobe, there's a floor for that. Okay. Now, whatever that is, there's the up down of the elevator shaft, the center. It's kind of like the different floors, okay? And there's me, that point. Okay. If all I do is explore the upper half, I may need to go down to the basement to get something. I just keep going back and forth. I can't find anything. So we're going to explore, boom, 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 boom. Okay. So just simple. Okay. That can be ritual. It can just be, okay, well. Huh? And more feel. Everything's up here and out there. I'm running around out there. More of a, take this, put it to the side. There's a same thing always going on. There's an up and a down and an up. And then there's a right, left, right balance. Also, there's front, back. Okay. So there are various dimensions to the physical universe. Okay. Okay. And up and down and up. Here we go this way and this way. Now we might go this way back. So the movements sort of start to double up. You can go. You get, you've got it both descending and ascending. In other words, I know all the way down to the basement, but then again, from the basement to the penthouse. Boom. And then you choose what floor. Then, you go explore one half of that floor. You explore both halves. And you know that, if you don't find what you want there is the elevator shaft. You got to go down another floor. Oh, I came out, or I got to go back up. Okay. So this kind of even though it's a ritual, it kind of starts to get me a little bit more right here, right now. I got my center. I'm going to go shop. I don't know where anything is. Okay. If I know who I am, or position myself somewhat, I know what I'm looking for. I need this, I need that. Okay, I got to navigate the department store, the universe, so to speak. But also there's this elevator, which helps. I could be doing the stairs, I get more exercise, but I might need to, man, boom, boom. So that's good, but now you can go down, you can double up on that. Up, down, down, up, right? Left, right, right, left, boom, we're right back at the shaft, boom. Okay, yeah, okay. So yeah, just sort of play around with that a little bit. We're going to do some movements pretty quick. But just, universe is a vast place. So we use our imagination, say it's a department store. Okay? Yeah. Okay. So those movements, for example, are, standard. You've got a center here. Okay. I know about that center. But on the other hand, you only know how that center operates by checking yourself out in motion. One of the things we've just meditated on the center, that's good. Then we move, and all of a sudden our attention gets drawn out. So wherever you are, you don't have to be doing this, but you clear your head, get your ground, check yourself out right and left. There's my center. And I can run around there with a center, but I'm kind of off balance right here. Wherever you go, you got the up, down, right, left, front, back, and you're kind of what assembles around that center. You have a mind, you have a body. Okay, you're kind of a mini. Somebody had to kind of plan out the department store, and they have a mind and a body. Okay, all right. So, boom. Now let's kind of go into a movement, which is boom, boom, boom. Now, right here, if you watch me, I get the upper part of the department store. But I'm sure somebody who just watches, I never buy anything. Okay, now there's the lower half. Now I can get there, and all I see is this exercise, and let's do 80, 100 of these, 80,000 of these, and right. But here we are, and boom, boom. So there's kind of the idea, the mind, and there's also what you call the feel experience, which is a bit more body. So using just the up and the down, the up and the down. Yeah. Okay. And one other thing, for example, see, there's a limit to how low I can drop my center here. Okay. Tai Chi, you do some movements where you drop a lot lower than we ever do in Aikido. On the other hand, in Aikido, we do Swati Waza. Okay. So, Sensei apparently, you come into a class and, he'd see the instructor, everybody kind of trying to beat each other up, martial art. And so he'd lecture about what Aikido was. And so they didn't like that. They wanted to just continue to beat each other up because they're doing martial art, get exercise, right? And so what would happen is they realized whenever Sensei saw everybody down there on the ground, he didn't take the class over because he thought they were getting in touch with something potentially, even though they didn't understand what they were getting in touch with. So now, see, there's only so low I can go, but the elevator continues down. Okay, and then I can go back up and make another sweep. But see, a lot of people go this way, and they know about the lower floors, but yeah. Okay, how long can I hold this posture? A little bit, but it's kind of the under part of it. This is kind of like we understand, we read, the stuff, we know what, we see the print about what everything is. Here, you know about the lower stuff, all right, but it's in the feel experience of it. The elevator continues to go down. This is the universe, it's not a department store. Now the question is, you go, oh, not used to that. That's okay. So you just go up, go down a little bit more. Go up, go down a little bit more. Okay, now there's nothing to do with how low you can get, but there's that feeling in Tai Chi, you learn to sink your center, not set your center lower. Yeah. Yeah, and that lower half contains kind of the feel experience that complements the upper half. Okay? Yeah, so it's important in its own way. Okay? Now, for example, see if we go boom, that motion, but then there's also boom, that motion. Okay? And the second one has the actual field experience, boom. Not just, this one has, I know about that. And I can try to get a little lower, but that's not what it's about. Boom. 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 Yeah. Still going down. But on the other hand, who wants to be a mole? You can go this way too. You can be an eagle. But boom. Even an eagle's got to come down sometime. Boom. Yeah. So just that simple up down is very much like this motion. Try that a little bit. Today what we're doing is just sort of trying to get more of an experiential feel. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now what we're going to do a little bit is let's mirror each other. Take it slow. A little bit more. You don't have to bend your knees anymore. Just that. I'm okay with the elevator. Initially, it's like, I don't know. I didn't know it went down that far. But we're not talking about a department store. We're talking about the universe and using department stores. Okay. And then up again. And boom. So there's that experiential lower, whatever it is. There's heaven, there's earth. Maybe earth is, we're not here just to, do what we do here. Maybe the whole thing is, one thing we can do is really feel. Yeah. Yeah. And then boom. See, once you've traveled that, in other words, I know something's missing. So I got to take it slow. Boom. I got to take it slow. Boom. And all of a sudden, oh yeah, I've done that. Yeah. Boom. Boom. Okay? Yeah. All right. So we'll mirror each other a little bit. Boom. Good. Okay. Boom. Boom. Now the other thing is there's a tendency to do that. When you do that, you kind of think you're staring into the abyss. All right. You're in the ocean, but you're some sort of an ocean god. So you're riding a whale. And that whale is a friend, it's an ally. See that feeling there? Boom. Yeah, so you can go deeper, deeper, deeper. Now, the whale dives pretty deep, and you're going to have to inhale, and the whale's got to know that you need to go back up to the surface. But all right, boom, 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 yeah, right. So that lower half is sometimes it's kind of deceptive. Okay, it's a very deceptive motion because we tend to like I mean if I'm designing a department store. I've done it. I do a great job. It's all in my mind. Okay. Somebody's got to do that. But then somebody has paid me who's got to get somebody to build the department store. I got this great idea, but it stops there. Now, not everybody can just sort of picture the whole thing. Tell me what you want, how many stores, or what you want, and I'll say, okay, this on this floor, that floor. Well, we need to put in elevators, we need to put in exits. Somebody can just have the whole thing in their mind. But then that has to, in order for it to be, well, you gotta, somebody, probably not the person who designed it, he was paid or she was paid. Somebody else has got to say, okay, I got to hire a contractor and I'll look for estimates. And obviously, I'm going to try to get the best, but I'm also trying to get the best at the cheapest price. So I got to go around, they got to get the materials. Company really good work. Could I hire something's cheap, but then again, I got this great design in this crappy, crappy, crappy building, so they didn't do anything. Okay, so you're careful about the lower half because that's kind of where the materials come in. You see what I mean? And so there's a mind that's very good, but oftentimes the people that can see the whole thing in their head aren't the people that actually go out there and build it, right? Hmm. So we got to kind of boom. That lower half kind of represents the materials. It represents craftsmanship. You see what I mean? We kind of need that. Otherwise, I get this great idea. All right. I'll be an NBA executive. I want somebody who's about 7 foot tall, who can dribble and shoot like Stephen Curry, and he can block shots at the rim and play all 5 positions. But Kevin Durant doesn't exist yet. Gee, if we could ever find somebody like that. Conversely, when he's there, you say, let's get him. Okay. So you can say, oh yeah, idea for this masterful player. There's somebody 6'8", 260 pounds, who can play like a guard, maneuver like a shooting guard or small forward, can pound inside like a power forward, is athletic enough to reject play on defense. Then I come up with LeBron James, but he doesn't exist yet. So I can fantasize. But, oh, I've been watching that kid since he was in high school. Oh, he's going to go directly to the pros. Let's draft him. Okay, so there's kind of the intelligence, but there's also that thing has to come into being. Okay? And sometimes you'll miss it. I'm looking for the next big thing, right? And I'm saying, okay, I'm the next LeBron James. Well, Stephen Curry must live through cracks. He's small. He looks pretty fragile in college. He's great in college. It's not going to translate with all these bully guys, what I don't see, he changes the whole game. because he stretches the floor out from the 3-point shot to the point where everybody forgets 3 beats 2. So I don't see that this guy will change space-time for almost any basketball team if you use him right, if you complement him with other players. So I say, yeah, I'll pass on that guy. As opposed to someone says, you know, yeah. So we're playing, you can't just say, I know what I need. I may not know what I need. I'm looking for old models. Okay. I'll put myself in Star Trek. All I know is impulse power. Well, guess what? We'll design a spaceship where like 8 generations can get to the next galaxy on impulse power. No, we're going to figure out warp drive. We're still going through time, but we're going through hyperspace. But we can get to the next galaxy in a couple of hours. Okay? So sometimes the new thing, but where does the new thing come from? We can think, well, I got to think about it. But it also kind of bubbles up. It bubbles up. Really, we tend to think mind, body, but also there's an intelligence from the under half that sometimes when an idea kind of, so it's really supposed to be that's why we're saying there's up, there's down, but then there's also down, back up. Try that a little bit. Just you can explore, okay, the upper design of something. And we got a scope about what the materials cost and who can do it. But then again, from down there, we may get, oh yeah, that would be perfect, right? All right. Yeah, Bill Walsh, when he was the coach and general manager, he's somewhere on the road and he happens to, because he's traveling, he watches a football game. And it's, some really podunk Southern college, right? But he sees this guy named Jerry Rice. And he doesn't go like number 1. He goes in the middle of the draft. The wall says, Jerry Rice. On his radar, he trades up a little bit. He gets Jerry Rice. Because he sees something, goes, there's something there that's pretty special. And then, of course, Walsh was the brains. But Jerry Rice comes in and he has kind of a promising first year with a little bit of, but then Jerry Rice, Bill Walsh, Jerry Rice, Bill Walsh equals 49er titles. Okay, so we're not in a sport. You don't get a trophy or anything. But boom, let's just kind of work a little bit where we start to get an up-down balance. Okay, yeah, all right. People tend to think, for example, that your mind, this is a lot of facts and things. This rebound echo is where imagination comes in. Imagination doesn't come this way. Imagination bubbles up. We may not catch that. Boom. Heaven, earth. There's also the earth back to heaven. Okay? And that lower beat, sometimes it's missed. It's just missed. We miss it. You see something great out there, we get mesmerized by it, or we get better at a certain thing. All right. LeBron James ran into Stephen Curry and he lost 3 out of 4 times. And LeBron's still what everybody's looking for. And you don't find the next Stephen Curry, you find the next game changer. Right? If you can do that, you'll make millions being a talent advisor, advisor in pro sports, which has lots of money. You need this, but this gets neglected, and this has its own sort of intelligence beat. Yeah, doesn't matter how low you bend your knees or anything like that. What did Einstein say? He said two things. More than that. He said, all I want to do is learn God's thoughts, because God created the universe. If I understand God's thoughts, I understand the universe. So everything else just details. Huh? Well, maybe we're up here, that's prior, but new stuff bubbles up from a different direction. So if we want to get, Sensei would say, kami, the wisdom of kami. I'm looking for it up there, but it bubbles up. But if I'm up here out there, I can have a whole department store in my head. I can't build it. I can't finance it. I got a great idea for a movie, says George Lucas. We're going to do a Western in the sci-fi future. We're going to give it a kind of spiritual theme called the Force. Well, guess what? It was financed simply because the studio wanted Lucas to do other films for them. We'll take a loss on this one. Because we want George Lucas to do more, was American Graffiti and a couple of other things. Guess what? Star Wars, right? And the people that financed that movie think it was good, it was a loss to get Lucas under contract. They missed something, didn't they? So if we can start to connect the total intelligence to the beginnings of the feel experience and let that circulate, you need the upper. If Curry had a bad coach, it just would have been somebody he put in a situation to shoot threes. Okay. But Curry's college coach, nobody gave Curry a scholarship except this one guy. And he watched Curry have a bad game. And he offered him a scholarship. Someone said, why? And, the college coach said, okay. Everybody else saw a smaller guy with great skill, but was too small and not athletic enough. What did I see when I saw him out there? Even on a bad game, he did not have the best game. He didn't wow the coach with his stats. He says, I saw genius. I saw genius. We tend to think genius is purely this, but Einstein, imagination, more important than what you know. So he was somewhat, even though he was primarily a mental, he was in touch with that lower beat. You get heaven, maybe it'll touch earth, but you also work earth and it ascends to heaven. And all the materials down here are also somewhat intelligent. So they organize through your imagination. Okay? So that's a little much. So what we're going to do, for example, I want you to watch this motion. And there's this motion. Boom. What's the difference? This is just pure idea. I got this great idea. All right, now that we see how Curry is done, we go, we're going to try to get the next Stephen Curry. Now, you got to figure out what the next big thing is, because oftentimes you don't get a total duplicate. But right here, boom, that low, you see, it's not just down, it's not just down, bounce up, it's boom. It goes down and boom. So just that motion, boom, boom. You've got the idea, good now. And you know about the lower half, but boom, there's that little extra, boom, in that motion. Yeah. And right here, first of all, when you hold up this way, you want to go down to the next floor, but you're jamming the elevator. When you go from the top, see, oh, yeah. Okay, So there's that sense right here. See, I know about that lower part. Boom. Then the next one, earth goes to heaven. Boom. Heaven goes really deeper back to earth. Boom. Well, yes. There's a vitality to that. You might not quite understand, but you're touching a full model. Okay? Keep going. It's a simple motion like this. Okay, now what we're going to do, we're going to put this down. Okay, if it was wet on the grass, I wouldn't do this. But let's go this motion. One, 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 one. Okay, I want you to watch a bit. Now, boom. Okay, now everybody here is a Udansha. There's that sense when you're going to get on the mat, you tighten your belt, right? It's going to come loose. You know, if you got a hakama, it doesn't matter. But if you don't, it's embarrassing. You're training, all of a sudden your belt falls off. Right and left, boom. And there's that. And you feel it right here. Okay, now, the upper idea, important. If all you are is a-ho, you can do that 2,000 times. Yeah, that's something. But guess what? Your body's going to eventually wear out anyway. So with it all, it's just to see the whole body is not. But there's that. When the right and the left come together, you got to wrap it around once and go boom. You're wrapping it around, right and left come together, boom. Equipment failures. Likewise here, I can go this way, I can be a little dreamy. Or I can go, oh, I kind of like this. I feel like a wet noodle. That's okay. That's all right. There's nothing wrong with a wet noodle. But, you know, I can drift within the idea of a wet noodle, right? And it's like, boom, boom. So there's that aliveness from underneath is like a beat. Boom, 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 boom. Good. All right. Now, this is done a lot. I'm dreaming here. But I'm teaching a class, everybody's dreaming, so I get pissed off and I kick them in the leg because, you know, it's hard to ask. So I say, I want my students tough. None of this dreamy stuff, okay? But no. There's somebody you kick in the leg and you break your toe. So what was he doing? You know, nice and relaxed. But you see, that to that, they increment to finer vibrations. So boom. You don't have to do this hard or you have to do this. Oh yeah, I got to really broaden my consciousness. Yes, right here, right now, that finer consciousness is going right through you. You need the idea. Aikido is a martial art. Good. Aikido is more than a martial art. Good. And we, for both of those, you want to be in the field experience. So Aikido is more than a martial art. That's okay. Or you need to ramp it up because it's a martial art. But see, if I'm a little too dreamy, I miss it. And if I'm a little too determined, I can only do this for a little bit, then I start to drift. Keep going. Pick that up. Okay. Now, just point it towards me. So we'll socially distance. Put it here. Okay. Now give me a push. All right. Toribune Sensei used to do that.
Sensei, you're out of the camera
He'd be kind of
range.
going like, he'd come around and go like, he would go, oh. You're not immovable, but you're in the field experience of it. It's not just a thought or an image. And that field experience is very alive. And sometimes, if we don't get that, we kind of go, I don't know, that looks like the abyss to me.
Cliff would like to see it on camera.
I'm sorry, what?
Cliff would like to see that on camera.
Okay.
We're out of camera when we were doing that before.
Oh, okay. Oh. Okay. See, what we're doing right here is this, okay? I'm in kind of the, it's good. Okay. Now what we're going to do, is if we're going to boom. All right. Yeah, light push. I'm not O Sensei, unfortunately. Give me a push. That's all right. You see what I mean? O Sensei couldn't have got to where he got to just by being a determined warrior. And he couldn't have got there just by being kind of a mental mystic. He understood something about the nature of the universe and who we were. And I think, Einstein was the same thing. Carl Jung was the same thing. Jung talked a lot about the underworld, where your collective imagination, your archetypes dwell, When they're up here and out there, they're complexes. You got to pay a therapist a lot to work through your complexes, right? And sometimes you just keep paying and paying and paying, And O Sensei was kind of, at that point where, it's okay. Boom. So that way right there is an interesting one. Okay. So we're not, my ability to do that is nowhere near what O Sensei's ability was, to be honest about that. But he understood the other half of the loop, figure 8. Got the upper, I just keep going around in a circle here. No, there's a lower loop, and the two are meant to circulate together. So we start to, okay? Now for me, watch me for a bit. I move my hands, therefore my belly shakes a little bit. Now it takes a little bit of practice, but when you start to kind of get the lower half, the belly is vibrating where my hands move. You see what I mean? We figure that out, all of a sudden I'm here out there. The lower half, see, you need this. If you don't have this, you stay a jock. Okay? With that said, this is also important. And so here, my belly is shaking because my hands are shaking. I can't sustain that. Here, the vibration is in my tummy, and the hands move along with it. What's there? There's an under connection to it. I understand that. Whoa. And that takes a little bit. You can work on that on your own. Keep going. See, now that I understand it, I'm going to stop. See, if your belly is shaking, your hands are moving, it's different than shaking your hands to get your belly to move. That's how you start out. Yeah. You don't have to do this. See, I can go this way. It's just a bigger, deeper wave. Okay. But then again, here I drift. So, you know, kind of wave portions and the smaller wavelength also on another level, the larger the wavelength through your consciousness. They're both going on. And if I go too much into this, I drift. If I get too much in, just I can't sustain it. There's some article, you know, because Tom Brady of the, you know, of the formerly of the New England Patriots, he's playing and he's 40 something. Somebody said, is Steph going to be the next Tom Brady? Maybe. We don't know. Maybe. Because if he gets this is what's sustaining. And as his body starts to age, this can get better. You see? So yeah, I think he's got a shot. It is not to defeat aging. None of us can do that. But everybody has that vibration inside them. And we settle for what's up here and what's out there. And then we try, no, boom. So just the basic Aikido exercises sometimes they're actually pretty deep. You see what I mean? They are. But you know, okay, I'm tired of that. My mind starts to drift too low. Well, since they do crazy things like go underneath a freezing waterfall where you couldn't like sit out and be mental. Kato Sensei once said, and somebody asked him, what did you do the waterfall stuff, you do the shaking stuff? Need something just to breathe down there. You got to do this. Don't tell them about being spiritual down there. It's that when you're in a real waterfall, you're being crushed by freezing water. You need this just to stay alive down there. You know, which, you know, to some degree is a very extreme sense of Misogi. You know, Linda Holiday Sensei loves this stuff. I don't particularly. Right? So, you know, she's tougher than I am. All right? By a long shot. All right? I mean, I've done this, and you know, I get something out of it, but if says, you're going to go back in there? No. Not unless I have to. I love those Sensei rematerialists. Says, Jack, let's go into the Pacific Ocean on the coldest day of the year and do this. I go, okay, well, Sensei, I'll do it. But chances are that's not going to happen. Okay. So relax. Now, if you put your hands out, you might begin to feel a vibration through your hands. Like you might start to feel your body vibrating. In fact, you might kind of feel your body vibrating within a field that's also vibrating. That's always going on. It's just we get caught up in this, and we get caught up in this sometimes from a very, very small place. But yeah, we need to expand the consciousness. Aikido is more than a martial art. Oh, it's a martial art. Yes, it's both. Get this from this direction. So you can go back to it. The whole universe, all matter is really vibration. Vibration get very dense and heavy. That's good. But, hey, we'll never become like O-Sensei. Just being just for philosophers. And, you know, really do, well, you can do something to your level. You can come and experience a kind of enlightenment or an awakening that kind of where you really understand yourself and your purpose here. I don't think you want people to get in front of bullets and dodge them. He said, don't do that stuff. I did it. You don't have to do it. You're going to understand Aikido. You know, it's wonderful if you understand it because you understand yourself, you understand your purpose in the universe. You're not at odds with it. In fact, the universe helps you. Comes, you know, these energies, instead of seeming to be really I'm staring in the abyss. It's like, no, you don't have to stare in the abyss. Anytime you just start to be present, you realize it's not really an abyss at all. It's just, I'm kind of afraid to go there. So I rebound off of it. No, we're just going to settle, leave it easy there. The journey down there, like if I start doing this, I want to bounce a basketball because, boom, boom, boom. It's an alive place, right? So this is like Stephen Curry dribbling the ball. Boom. I don't know if he really does it. The first thing he really does, when he steps on a basketball court, is not throw up a shot. He says he takes 10 hard dribbles with his right and 10 hard dribbles with his left. Bum, 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 bum. And then he'll work on certain, his base, because your basket does move, but we get lazy and there's drift in our system. So get the structure of it. Boom. But the grades that come from that lower half too, they're not just purely theory or physically gifted. Combination. LeBron, I used to think he was a villain because we used to always have to play him in the finals. The guy's done incredibly great things on an activist level. Created schools for African American youth. On the last election, what did he do? People who come out of prisons oftentimes aren't allowed to vote, or they don't vote. Well, he marshaled them and got them voting. Okay, so a president says LeBron James sucks. LeBron James doesn't answer by insulting him back. He goes out there and affects positive change. He is not just a jock. You say, like this, oh, it's all I need. No. I also have, Society needs a superstar too, not just basketball. What can I do? So he's got both. Curry's the same thing. I follow the NBA, and politically, that's the most active league. Baseball, no. Football, definitely not. But the NBA, okay, they have this, but they also have this. You keep bouncing that ball, you can't just go down, it comes back up. And then if it comes back up, you lose it. No, pop, 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 pop. So we do this in Aikido, right? You don't have to do it harder or faster, but at some point you want to get to that place with that vibration at whatever level is inside you, and your hands move off of that. You see? And that becomes very crucial. Okay, I understand that. I drift off. Conversely, I say, I drifted off. I'm a wuss. I better do this harder for the next. Then I can't sustain it. My mind will drift again. When I get to that place where the belly is shaking and therefore the hands move, I begin to realize, now stop. All of a sudden, my body feels like it's vibrating. So the body feels a little bit like it's a little bit of an energy field. And it's within a larger field. And that larger field in my body, they can vibrate together. They can resonate together. Now, okay, I understand it. It all goes away. Unless, of course, I have some of the lower half. Yeah. Kojima Sensei used to work this a lot. He didn't articulate it that way, but, he kind of, we're going, okay. And boom, he wasn't trying to mess you up. He was trying to say, okay, kid, you don't get something that's very important right now. And, of course, he did it in another form. And when you're young, you're trying to figure out, do it better, and boom. So, I am in the middle of a class, so I'll call you back after 1 o'clock. No, was it? Okay?
Okay.
All right. Hello, Sensei. Gee, I must be going up on the universe's scale to get a call from here. Let's see, we got this. Now, let's put the left foot forward. Okay. Now, see, everything is out there. I'm getting some exercise, but I might as well do something else. This isn't going to get me very much. Conversely, Aikido is more than a martial art. So I'm a little drifty with it. See, that's good because at least I have a better idea of it. See what I mean? Why can't we have a bit of both? Okay. Boom, 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 boom. That's it. Boom. And you do have to do? I don't think you have to do that many. If you go, you probably go, okay, I'm there. We might have to do a little bit more. If you're crazy, you can do this for an hour and see what happens. Most of you, their arms want to fall off. But, okay, now let's just look at this a little bit. Let's say you have a wave going this way, and you have a wave going this way. One is the wave inside you, the other is a wave in the energy field around you. There are nodal points, aren't there? For the two, and you know, I probably in my education I knew what they were once, but I sort of digressed. But both of those in balance produce boom, that vibration. Now both of those in balance produce the boom vibration. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Now, you can see why they might alternate them. A little too dreamy, a little too young and too purposefully oriented, but very too dense. And you know, as much as I got this, I'm going to get tired and burn out and drift. When the belly is shaking and the hands move off of that belly shake, it's different than shaking your hands in this way or this way to somehow move the belly. See, the waves get very, very advanced and large, but I drift. Likewise, they get a little feel like this, it's out there, and I burn out. But you know, you got this and you got this, and right here and right here, you get this and you get this, or here, you're both going on. You're staying very, very relaxed. The waves are very big, but they're also infinitely dense. And if you were to all of a sudden just stop shaking, you might feel your body is kind of like vibrating. Your body is an energy field. And there's a field around you. And those two fields, so when your body's this one and the field around you is this one, they don't talk. But what you do, this is your body by being The purpose of Misogi is get the outer energy pattern to where it's talking, resonating with yours. So what we're saying right here, you can do this forever. You can either go, I'm drifting, it's Aikido, it's more than a martial art. No, it's a martial art. No, your belly is shaking, therefore your arms are moving. There's a vibration going on inside you. Like certain things, like in Masa Sensei said, have your students do this for an hour. Why? Well, I made it. I made it. No, he's saying that if you're going to get the break, it doesn't matter whether you do this for a couple of seconds or an incredible amount of time. And what's going on right there is the fact that the wave that your body has as a frequency, and it's starting to attune to the larger one, and the larger one is starting to attune to your body's wave frequency. That's O-sensei's echo. The resonance wave of the body starts to harmonize with the resonance wave of the universe, and the key of Aikido is generated. He says it all the time. Everybody goes, da. Okay, good. Now pause. When you feel that vibration, your body starts to feel like it's not shaking. That's not so good, but it's vibrating. It's alive. And it's an energy field. That's what energy fields do. They're not that. They have a pulse and aliveness. And the universe has its own, but as we start to do this, we're putting our own frequency somewhat more where the universe's frequency can cock back, and therefore we establish that harmony or resonance between our own body wave and the universe's wavelength. Okay? And let's go left side. Now what we're doing right here, boom, 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 boom. Okay, and watch here. Let's say this is my own body's wavelength. This is the universe's wavelength. We're not going to talk. But we're doing our own body's wavelength in a way that's saying, hi, universe. And maybe by just doing that, the universe, instead of being up here, starts to kind of say hi. There's so many documents where talking that, you know. Part of that is that fairly developed people are in communion with us. And so I'm a humble person. But anything that if you make that into whole, you put it out there, and then you can be a real pain in the butt, right?
David, something is wrong with the signal. The picture is I can see the picture sideways in the other account, but the main one vanished.
David, both the picture and the sound have cut out on mine. Oh, now it's coming back.
Okay, and then we can go back to, because that in motion.
Okay, it's back.
For me too.
feeling that your own body to talk to the universe may start to kind of attenuate to you. Sensei was good, but he had that down. He used the term Jinsu Aiki. In fact, Hikizuchi Sensei gave me a fan with that calligraphy on. And what he just says is Jinsu Aiki means the Aiki that can talk with or communicate with Kami. Now, what does it mean? I mean, one level there's Aikido. It's to represent Aiki is in us. So in some sense, we are also Aiki. As we find our frequency is Aiki, we start to be able to talk to the universe, and the universe starts to be able to kind of talk back. Now, if you talk back to the universe, a lot of times you're like a kid that gets punished or grounded. So, you know, a lot of times that's behavior that's, you know, it's not that you want to be like afraid of things. It's just, you know, those sensei said he would do intentionally bad things to see if the universe would punish him. He said, largely not. I mean, if you're just doing it to find out whether or not you're going to get slapped down, he said, I didn't get slapped down. He wasn't doing it to be bad, although I don't know, that's, you know, whatever, you know, I'm going to do bad things today. Oh, I'm punished, that didn't happen. Now, on the other hand, you know, if you're so out of balance, the universe is trying to say, listen to me, you may get whacked. It's like a Zen master whacking somebody who's fallen asleep. Whack! Meditation, right? Universe is a little bit like a Zen master. Okay, and then stop. Start to feel your body. Now, for me, the body felt like, well, you know, but that could be me drinking about 3 espresso drinks. Now, even though that vibration is going on, there's a calmness. Now, careful right there, because I say, okay, finally, then I start to drift. You still stay lined up. I mean, who in the world wants to go around doing this all day? Or this all day? You know, you're going to have your normal life, but your wavelength is connecting to the larger wavelength, and they're kind of getting closer. The harmony is getting better and better. So if you're dealing with your kids or dealing with other people, shouldn't that also come into play? You blend, right? Just where I'm staying, there's some weirdness going on with the landlord and one of the tenants. Like, you're leaving your trash out. I just blend. Oh, trash. I'll talk a little bit, you know, to so and so. It's not this roommate's trash or that roommate's trash. But Elle's kind of like, she's more of an activist. And she gets results. I said, I'm going to blend. And she goes, and sometimes you got to ignore her. So if you start to think, you know, so a lot of times things will keep hitting you until all of a sudden you start to not stand up to them. But when you start to be equal to them, you see what I mean? Now, as bad as, you know, if you're, I mean, this is last 4 years of the presidency. We've been pushed around, insulted, and everything like that. Well, guess what? We voted. Okay, that's important. You don't sit there and take it. I'm going to blend with this guy forever. Yeah, he wants that. So I'm going to piss people off to where they're so crazy they can't do anything. No, we're going to vote. If you're a fan, that's fine. You don't have to believe in this person or that person in order to do Aikido. But if you do this, you might find a little bit more balance. But yeah, that's good, but I've been missing A, B, C, D. Boom. Okay? Yeah. So we have now 2 very basic moves, and we have like 30 moves we'll go through later today. Okay, now watch this one again. It's like shaking exercise. I made that tip go out there that way, but there's a vibration going on inside me. Ooh. So when this incoming wave and my outgoing wave start to kind of meet, if the incoming wave is too this way and the outgoing wave is too disorganized, they can't talk. But when this and this meet, it's kind of like a nodal point. Conversation. And you feel that inside you, therefore the tip vibrates. I know how I'm supposed to look, but when I do this, Tojima Sensei pull on my stick and I be off balance. Here, your words have power, boom, and your silence has power. You can define yourself also by what you don't say. People insult you, try to do crazy things. You just keep your center and you deal with it. But boom, you deal with it and you don't have to fight everybody. Boom. Certain people, Sensei said this, bad people are part of training. We got to deal with bad people and bad things. Okay, now all of a sudden we don't fight. We answer with our silence, boom, and take action. So that same vibration we felt when we were shaking the belly, boom. Same out, boom, and boom, you start to feel here. Boom, boom. Okay. Okay. So, those are just basic exercises. Sometimes, the Misogi stuff, hey-ho, hey-ho. I don't mean to demean that. But I kind of find a lot of times is that, you could easily make this whole thing into a cult. Or the a-ho team, or the belly shaking team. See what I mean? And since they did all that stuff, you'd be surprised most people didn't like it at all. But if David sticks his staff out, for example, he comes in this way, and I'm going to move to here, and he's solid. What happens is the wave pattern that's David and the wave pattern that's me, they start to kind of meet, and they form a shape like a wave. Right? All right. So if you're coming in this way, you're going to come in. I'm over here. I'm going to try to move you. Okay. See, the wave pattern that's you and the wave pattern that's me start. That's Aikido. It's not about me being better than you or anything like that. In fact, I'm including you in that conversation between me and the universe. So you start to build a foundation. So, for example, if you're coming in to strike, some people will look and I'm going to go, yeah, I'm going to try to move you. No. See, on that first one, you go, okay, what's there? Oh, okay. But there's a second, third wave. You say, you can't turn the universe out. For whatever reason, over 140 million people vote. And some of them voted in a way I don't understand. He got more votes than anybody in history, except the guy who won the election. I don't understand why 70 million people voted for a certain person, but that's my own political stuff. You don't get too much into that. But enough people weighed the facts, got in touch with their feelings, and got out of their own anger or disillusionment and simply voted. Okay? And, we tend to think of the universe as like, well, I do all these things, the universe is not going to listen to me. But a lot of this is about getting your wavelength so distinctly you that the universe let's have a conversation. You go, oh, okay. All right. And the universe tends to talk in things like vibration or energy shapes if he's coming this direction. Okay. For example, here, That's a whirlpool spiral. Boom. Okay. And then, you know, for example, here. What's that? That's a wall. But what am I doing? I'm creating a wall because I'm freezing, and the universe says, okay, you have beautiful harmony going, you want a wall now. So what's the lesson? Well, can't this go this way and then come back on? We're creating a wall. All right, so we go this way, and we go this way. And that's, you know, you want Kotegaishi or you want to yin Nage. It's pretty movement of energy, isn't it? See, one of the things he says, bad people, bad things are part of training. Yeah, you're going to run into walls. All right? But on the other hand, there are real walls, and they're the walls we create. When we go this way, this is beautiful. But if this is beautiful, why can't that be beautiful? Why can't this and that just sort of start to kind of work in tandem? And if I'm kind of working the larger universal field, guess what? It includes whatever place David is in, doesn't it? You have a training partner, that's good. Well, you and your partner are part of the universe. And so when you really get two systems that are attuned, then you get fun. All right. Kevin Durant comes and joins the Warriors. Okay, now the Rat Fink left, but on the other hand, how are he and Curry going to get along? Beautifully. Why? Steph welcomes him. And Steph's still an all-star. That's Aikido. And at some point, Durant says, you know, I want to be me. I can't be me totally here. So I'm going to go somewhere else to find more of me. And that's okay. That's called free will. Okay? Doesn't mean you're stuck anything. All right? But on the other hand, if you hit a wall and have to either tear the wall down or run away from the wall, that's the larger Aikido. We create walls. All right? Well, for one thing, for example, here, wherever I move, there's a speed point. All right? There's a wall there. You know, that wall has gateways and entranceways. Boom, boom, boom. Right? So, you know, what happens when we start to get into our own wave pattern, gets into communication, which means, you know, this may be us and that may be that. But they start to kind of go like that. The universe says, yeah, good, we're on a talking level. See, that's the thing. Oh, Sensei, I mean, you know, I mean, he was still a person. He was like, I'll talk to the universe. That's pretty weird. On the other hand, if you're so you, the universe says, hey, let's talk now. Then you start to have this beautiful conversation. And the universe, you know, takes its field and attenuates it to your field. It's still the universe, it's just you personalized it. You say, in that particular way, you know, it's almost like, and then the way Sensei put it, bad things and bad people are also part of training. So instead of creating a wall, yeah, I can't do anything about this until I vote. But I will emote and I will be angry, whatever it is. But on the other hand, I'm gonna be very calm and vote. That's all I can do. 70 million people may vote, but I'm going to go vote. So each of us had a certain part in the 175 million people that voted for so-and-so. It is not about a political election. What can I do? No, I could be some weird guy that plots something against the government or anything like that. But then again, I'm cutting off my nose to spite my face. The process that we have is actually quite good. It needs racially, gender-wise, it needs a little more development. but we seem to go that direction. And sometimes it seems like you're in a good path, and then somebody comes around who's really like the wall. Yeah, screw the environment, screw science, screw gender equality, racial equality. I'm going to praise the Nazis. Yeah, it's a wall. And so sometimes you got to just be able to go, okay, be easy there. And there will be a day when I can do something. And noting, in some sense, in Aikido, is that you start to get in touch with your own wave pattern. So all of a sudden, you go, oh yeah, this, or sensei would probably go like this. And you say, oh, there's company here. There's company here. Right? For example, if you're coming in this direction, it's like, okay, there's company here. In other words, the formation of the kami. Right? Now I can go here. Now, here I am with her, kind of in what we call the ordinary world. So I do. I try to. That other world is always there, isn't it? It's just that we go into the wall, but after a while, I realize, okay, I had a certain thing because my consciousness went, eh. But what is that telling me? It tells me I can't just be up here and out there in a bigger way. Because all I have is that there's going to be a bad day and I'm going to create the wall. Now, somebody else might be really good at being a wall. Create the wall, then I go back to the vibration and, the larger thing. See, one of the things about Aikido, yeah, you got to understand how to deal with individual people because they have their own quirks, But on the other hand, the larger design is if you can find your own beat. That's very free. These movements and these movements are just guidelines. So since they did them, but most of those movements were part of Omoto Kyo, okay? And what happened is they were teaching this one meditation movement style, and it was way too much for certain people. And so they didn't just hit a wall, they kind of went cuckoo. So what they did is they dumbed it down into this, which wouldn't make people cuckoo. Now, obviously, Sensei took that stuff. He did the more advanced stuff because he wasn't cuckoo. Or you could say he's cuckoo, but he was cuckoo in a really fantastic way that everybody could use being more cuckoo in that direction. Okay? All right? Well, check the time. We'll do that. But let's get the boken. 4 more minutes? Okay. Just be where you are. Okay? So, if we had more time, we'd go into this. But I kind of want you to see. I'm just going to do a move. Notice how it's up here and out there. Okay, now I'm going to learn a little bit more about it and kind of get my hips into that motion. It's still up here and out there. Then I'm going to do this for a long time. I'm with good people, and I start to do the cut better. But at some point, the blueprint of that cut is a vibration in here. And so, boom, boom. Okay? Now, when you do that motion, what I want you to see is, most people go and they go, boom, it goes back up. This, you're about to go out onto the floor in the suit, the department store that's the universe, you realize you got to go down one more level. So if you watch this one, boom. The second bounce is boom, that bounce. But the blueprint for it's not just in your hands, right in your core area where you breathe and your heart beats and your belly is, there's a vibration. It's a vibration. Boom, 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 boom. So you consistently, boom, get that. And so, you know, the exercises we did, which is like the more Misogi oriented exercises. When I'm doing that, you know, I'm not really thinking cut with a sword at all. I'm thinking, I'm Stephen Curry. And this is after practice. And it's me and the hoop and the ball. And boom, that's a brick. That's off the front rim. That goes in, but I know that I can never make that shot in the game that way. But I find my rhythm, boom. And boom, I start to touch the bottom of the net. It's Misogi, so it's repetitive. Boom, boom. Doing that 177 in a row once. Maybe he's done more. Best I ever did was 11. When I was going to the, you know, 11 is not bad. Boom, 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 boom. That perfect stroke. Boom, boom, boom. And he listens to how the ball sounds when it goes through the hoop. And it goes like that, and he goes, okay, back to the drawing board. Boom. So he gets that sound. Boom, boom. How many do you have to do? Maybe one, just to get there. Or if you like it, you swing for a while. That's Misogi. Now, what we do a lot with this is also Misogi, because part of Misogi is being very, very flexible. But one of the things right here, for example, when you make this change, if you're coming in this stuff, like boom, boom, boom. Oh, it's like boom, boom, boom. Each of those changes is kind of like the staff spear. You take the principle of that, has that same under support. But for me, root, ground, base, boom, boom. Now what I'm doing is not thinking about the actual cut. I'm trying to feel that vibe. Not up here and out there, but right here, right here. Boom, 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 boom. And in my own mind, I'm Stephen Curry, or I'm Sadaharu taking batting practice, and boom, over the fence, over the fence, over the fence. See, it's not about sports, but those people I'm talking about, they're champions. Now, who are you seeking? You're seeking the championship of yourself. Nothing to do with what sports you play or if you play a sport. You see, if I'm too surface satisfied, I may have a lot of fun, but boom, 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 boom. That's Tojima Sensei. Boom, 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 boom. So, you know, somebody like O or Curry, they're way past sport because they've turned their sport into Misogi. They don't win everything. O did not hit a home run every time he swung. Curry doesn't win every game or make every shot. There's a human factor, but they have a certain championship approach to their craft, and that's what I try to copy. We can't do anything right now because we can meet like this, but we can't have a class. But what you can do, you can do this on your own. You can do this on your own. You can take this, boom, you can do that on your own. Boom, you can do that on your own. You can do, boom, you can do that on your own. See this one too, most boom. See how it bounces up? But when you do it right, boom, the second bounce is down. And it really is not about, okay, I got to do that. See, when I do a hard dribble like Curry does, 10 on each side, just to get on the court. I can't go, try a hard dribble, you'll lose the ball. Boom, 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 boom. I can do 1 or 2 or 3, I can't do 10. Okay, although I should practice, but you can't do everything. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Right, left. Then he goes out there, and then that motion, boom. That rebound echo of the bounce is in his system. He's a basketball player. Oh, baseball player. Used to work sometimes after a game with his coach. And the coach's wife would prepare dinner for him. And she would always know when dinner was about, when she needed to prepare dinner. So he asked her once, how do you know when we're going to come down here? She says, oh, son, when you're practicing and you put that foot down, you make a certain sound. So when I hear you sound like this, I know you're not ready. But when you start to go boom, I get that certain sound when you put your foot down, which Japanese house you feel here, I know I better start preparing. And then when you start to go bam, 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 like Curry 3 after 3 in practice. So the greats, they have something more than just physical dedication. They're understanding kind of like the vibrational nature. Yes, time. Okay, let's yes.
It's after 1 o'clock.
Okay, let's go. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sensei.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, David. Thank
It's
you,
called
Al.
After practice. Yeah, no, I get it. There are reasons.